Hello, dear students. Welcome to the online education of class 7 science. Dear students, in the previous class, I have started the lesson transportation in animals and plants. So, in the previous class, we discussed what is circulatory system and what is blood. So, as you know that blood is the fluid, so which flows into the vessels, blood vessels. Okay, so the function of blood is to transport the substances like digested food from the small intestine to all other parts of the body, and it also carries the oxygenated blood, so oxygen from lungs to the all every cells of the body. So not only giving the supply of oxygen to each and every cell of the body, it also does the another important function, that is removal of waste from the body. So this kind of function is done by the blood. Okay, so how does this blood carry the various substances into our body? So as we know that blood is a liquid. Okay, so as the blood is liquid in state, so which has many kinds of cells of various kinds which are suspended in it. So many kinds of cells are suspended in this blood. So as it's a liquid which can flow through the blood vessels. Okay, now let us see what all such kinds of cells are suspended in the blood cell. Okay, so let's see here. So the fluid part of the blood is called plasma. So remember, all of you, my dear students, these are all very important concepts, basic terms of the circulatory system. So try to understand and try to remember them properly. The fluid part of our blood is called, whatever the fluid is there, no liquid, so that liquid part of the blood is called plasma. Okay, so there is one type of cells which are present in the blood that are called as red blood cells, or they are known as RBC, red blood cells. Okay, so these red blood cells which contain an pigment, a red pigment called hemoglobin. So these RBCs, or red blood cells, they contain a pigment which is called as hemoglobin. Okay, so hemoglobin, so it binds with oxygen. So what does this hemoglobin does is, the hemoglobin binds or attaches with oxygen and transports it to all the parts of the body and ultimately to all the cells. So this hemoglobin, it mixes or attaches with the oxygen which is supplied to the lungs. Okay, so along with the hemoglobin, oxygen is also attached, so that will be transported to each and every part of the body, and finally through that part it reaches ultimately all the cells of the body. So it means RBC helps in supplying pure oxygen to each and every cell of the body. Am I clear? Yes. So it will be difficult to provide oxygen efficiently to all the cells of the body without hemoglobin. Keep it in mind, all of you, my dear students. It will be very difficult for the body to provide the oxygen very efficiently if there is no hemoglobin in our body. Okay, so it will be very difficult to provide the oxygen very efficiently to each and every cell of the body without hemoglobin. Why it is means hemoglobin binds the oxygen, so it carries to each and every cell of the body. So the presence of hemoglobin makes the blood appear red. So why does the blood appear red? A question can be asked like this. Okay, so you might have also thought yourself, why our blood is red in color? This is because it's a presence of a pigment called hemoglobin. Okay, so that's why because of the presence of the hemoglobin, our blood appears to be red in color. Am I right? Am I clear in my instruction? Yes, let's move ahead for the next concept. Okay, so our blood contains RBC. So there is one more type of cell which is present in the blood, that we call it as white blood cells, or WBCs. The blood also has one more type of cell that we call it as white blood cells, or WBCs. So these white blood cells, or WBCs, which fight against the germs that may have entered our body. Okay, so these are like army. Okay, so they are like soldiers which are present inside our body. Okay, they fight like anything, okay, to kill the germs which have entered into our body. Okay, so such as bacteria, virus, fungi. Okay, so whatever the protozoans, okay, whatever the microorganisms which have entered into our body through food, water, or air, whatever means, so that germs have will be fought by these WBC. Okay, so they fight against the germs which have entered our body. So that's why they are called known as soldiers of our body. Okay, so you might have felt. Okay, see, sometimes when you are playing in the ground, you are playing any number of games. So fine, sometimes when you are playing, suddenly some of your friend will fall down and he'll get a bleeding or injury. Okay, finally what happens here? So when the injury happens, automatically the blood oozes out. It starts coming out of the injury or a cut. So what happens after some time? So we see a dark red clot which has plugged the cut. See, sometime for few seconds or few minutes, the blood starts oozing out, coming out, flowing out. So later on, after some time, we see that the bleeding stops. We see that the bleeding had stopped already. Why? Because there is a red clot is formed there that has stopped that, plugged the clotting. Okay, so that stops the bleeding of the blood. So that is, you may feel wonder, how does the blood stop itself flowing? Okay, so this is called as clotting process. Okay, so the clot is formed because of the presence of another type of cells in our blood, so that we call it as platelets. Very important. Okay, platelets are very important for our body. If there is no platelets, if you got an injury, the blood continuously goes out, flows out. Okay, so platelets are the kinds of cells, okay, which are present in our blood cell. So they help in forming the clotting process. They stop the bleeding of the blood, so that we call them as platelets. Dear students, I hope you have understood RBCs, WBCs and platelets. Okay, so let me continuing the remaining part of the this concept in next class. Thank you and have a nice day.